You're playing touch butt with that dork in the park.
Daniel Cormier doubts that UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones would secure a $30 million payday for his fight against Tom Aspinall. UFC commentator and podcaster Joe Rogan has mentioned hearing that Jones is seeking $30 million to face interim champ Aspinall in a title unification bout, which UFC president Dana White has confirmed will take place in 2025. Cormier, who himself was a UFC dual champion and faced Jones twice, has headlined numerous high-profile pay-per-view events. He provided insights into his own earnings and speculated on the negotiations between Jones and the UFC. I'll tell you guys, as a person who has been involved in big fights, a person who has sold pay-per-views, a person who at his time was at the top of the pay scale in the UFC as the heavyweight and light heavyweight champion, $30 million was literally a world away from anything we were making, Cormier said on his YouTube channel. He also reminisced about his own pay, saying, "I remember when I got paid in New York, I got a big bump to take a fight on 3 weeks' notice, which ultimately became my salary, and people were astounded with the number. But I will tell you, it was a fraction of what that number that he's asking for is. It was nowhere near that, but I've heard now rumors that the higher-end guys are making more. The Israel Adesanya, the Jon Jones, the Stipe Miocic. I heard that Stipe Miocic made big money for the last fight." Cormier suggests that while $30 million might seem like a steep demand, given Jones's history with pay-per-view and gate revenue, it's not entirely unrealistic. However, he remains skeptical that Jones will reach that exact figure. Rogan thinks that the UFC will pay the $30 million to get Jon Jones in there with Tom Aspinall, Cormier added. "I'm not sure he gets the $30 million, but if you ask for 30 and you end up with 20 or you get 15, that's a win for Jon Jones on his way out." Chris Curtis anticipates another chaotic encounter between Sean Strickland and Dricus DuPlesis at UFC 312. Strickland will rematch middleweight champion DuPlesis in the main event on February 8th at Kudos Bank Arena in Sydney. Their initial clash at UFC 297 was a close one, ending in a split decision with DuPlesis clinching the middleweight title. DuPlesis, however, has a history of losing rematches. He was knocked out in his second bout against Roberto Soldis after previously defeating him by TKO to win the KSW welterweight title. "Fighting Dricus is like fighting a c***ed-out chimpanzee in a phone booth," Curtis remarked to MMA Junkie. "You're just like, what's happening?" But I think it's really overwhelming and surprising for guys because you're like, who fights like this? What are you doing? And the dude is just out of his mind trying to win. I respect that, but I feel like stylistically, in like the second fight, when you kind of know what to expect and you understand that he's dancing to his own song, I wonder how that goes because his only rematch with Soldish, he lost. Yeah, that's years ago, but I kind of think it's kind of telling to where once guys figure that out, you learn what to look for. I think it becomes a different fight. Curtis also acknowledges that the same learning curve applies to Strickland, where DuPlesis might adapt to his fighting style. "It's just gonna be such a weird fight," Curtis said. "It's gonna be c***ed-out chimpanzees in a phone booth, and I want to see it. I believe in Sean. He's one of the hardest working dudes I've ever met. I think he can do it. I'm pulling for him. But at the end of the day, I just kind of want to see this happen because, honestly, it's the most high-level circus fight you'll ever see." Curtis and Strickland have reconciled after a falling out sparked by a social media dispute. While things are good now, Curtis, who fights Roman Kopylov at UFC Fight Night 249 on Saturday at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas, admits that another spat could occur given their history. "I've never left the gym. Me and Sean fight a lot," Curtis explained. "When you've known somebody for that long, you're going to have some friction. Especially when you know somebody that long, you know how to get under each other's skin. We've had words, we've had fist fights on multiple occasions. It's always going to be that way. We're very different personalities, we're very different beliefs and boundaries. We've both crossed those boundaries a lot more than most people. So it's going to happen. It's just a part of the game." Ali Abdelaziz made a very bold statement regarding UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhacev. Makhachev, who is set to face Arman Tsarukyan in a rematch at UFC 311, headlining on January 18th at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California. This bout is a rematch following their first fight in April 2019, where Makhachev won by unanimous decision in Tsarukyan's UFC debut. Abdelaziz, who holds Makhachev in high esteem as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in MMA, believes his client could pose significant problems even for UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. "He had a situation in the first fight with Tsarukyan. I'm not going to make excuses for him," Abdelaziz told MMA Junkie. "Arman is an absolute beast. He's very tough. I think Arman will be a champion. but I don't think it's now. It's not his time. He's young. I don't think any man from 155 pounds to 185 pounds can beat Islam Makhacev. It doesn't exist. I believe 155, 170, 185. I think Islam can beat anybody at any given day. This is what I believe in because what he's shown me, the development, the improvement. I think Islam will beat Alex Pereira at 205. I do. I swear to Allah. I think Islam Makhacev will beat Alex Pereira. He's just going to take him down and finish him, submit him. Alex Pereira can knock out anybody on the planet if he touches you, but I think Islam Makhacev is this good. This skill for skill. I think he's one of the best fighters, the most complete fighters we've ever seen. It's not Demetrius Johnson, it's nobody. Abdelaziz also challenges UFC President Dana White's claim that Jon Jones is the top pound-for-pound fighter, asserting that Makhachev's achievements surpass those of Jones, justifying his position at the top of the UFC rankings. The man finished 7 of his last 8 opponents, Abdelaziz said of Makhachev. He beat the pound-for-pound number 1, first ranked. The caliber of fighters he beat is not like who Jon Jones beat. And that's no disrespect to Jon Jones. He's amazing, but he's beaten Cyril Gane, who can't wrestle. He beat Stipe Miocic, who's a grandfather. He's old. He's a legend, of course. Islam Makhachev didn't go to a split decision with Thiago Santos. It doesn't happen. He smashes people's faces. He makes them look like they don't even belong there, but we're going to see January 18th, one more for Islam Makhachev, and I think he's going to make it look easy. Conor McGregor's recently rumored boxing match in India against Logan Paul might be in jeopardy, but KSI has put forth his name as a potential replacement for his business partner. McGregor, who has been out of the UFC scene for over 4 years, hinted at a return to combat sports in 2025. Surprisingly, he announced preliminary negotiations for a boxing bout with Logan Paul in India. The fight was set to take place at the Wankhede Stadium as part of a Visit India tourism campaign with a staggering $500 million prize pool. McGregor noted that since both fighters are under the TKO banner, the UFC would be involved in the negotiations, continuing to bend their usual rules for McGregor. However, enthusiasm for the fight has waned as Logan Paul hinted at a shift in his career focus. During WWE's inaugural event on Netflix, Paul indicated he's now dedicating himself fully to WWE, distancing himself from side projects like boxing. I get it, I would hate me too, Paul stated during a promo on Monday Night Raw. I don't respect the process. I've never fallen in line or waited my turn, but you know what must really keep you up at night? I've been so good at this. And now, I'm dedicating my life to this. No more side hustle, no more bullshit, 100% WWE superstar. With Paul's commitment to WWE potentially sidelining the McGregor fight, KSI has expressed interest in stepping in. KSI, known for kick-starting the influencer boxing trend, co-owns Misfits Boxing and made his professional boxing debut against Tommy Fury in October 2023. Despite his loss to Fury, KSI responded to a tweet about a potential fight with McGregor, saying, "Not rumored, I'm very down." This isn't the first time McGregor and KSI have crossed paths. McGregor previously called out KSI for a bare-knuckle fight during an event where they were both present. "I know your man KSI is in the crowd." Yeah, and he couldn't box eggs if he worked in an egg boxing factory, so if he wants to get in here, I'll give him a fight bare-knuckle if he wants, McGregor said at the time. That's it for all the MMA news for today. Please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel.